Welcome back to Gospel Kanji. I'm your host, Kent Cisco. There are moments in Scripture where God asks us to pay attention to timing, exact days, specific instructions, carefully ordered events. One of those moments appears in Exodus chapter 12 on what Scripture calls the 10th day. Today, we're going to walk through that week, beginning with the 10th day. When we do, we'll see how the events of the Old Testament and the New Testament align with precision, especially surrounding the death and resurrection of Jesus. Exodus 12 records God's instruction to Israel on the eve of their deliverance from Egypt. God tells Moses, "Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, on the 10th of this month, they are, each one, to take a lamb for themselves, according to the fathers' households, a lamb for each household." Exodus 12:3. This instruction is specific. The lamb is chosen on the 10th day. It is not killed immediately. Instead, the lamb is selected, set apart, and kept under observation. God continues, "You shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, when the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel is to slaughter it at twilight." Exodus 12, verse 6. The pattern is clear. Selection on the 10th, sacrifice on the 14th. This timing is deliberate. God is teaching Israel the calendar of redemption. Fast forward to Jerusalem about 1480 years or so. Jesus enters Jerusalem riding on a donkey, an event we call the Triumphal Entry. Crowds gather, palm branches are waved, the people cry out, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." This event takes place on the 10th day of Nisan, the same day the Passover lambs were selected in Egypt. Jesus presents himself publicly to the city. This is not a private arrival. This is a formal presentation. The lamb is being chosen. What follows next is just as important. From the moment Jesus enters Jerusalem, he is being examined. For 4 days, religious leaders question him. Authorities challenge him. Accusations are tested. And at the end of the 4 days, we read of the Roman governor's declaration. "And then Pilate came out again and said to them, 'See, I am bringing him out to you so that you will know that I find no grounds at all for charges in his case.'" John 19:4. The lamb has been inspected, and the lamb is without blemish. Now let's slow down and carefully count out the days. If Jesus enters Jerusalem on the 10th day and Passover occurs on the 14th, the calendar unfolds like this. The 10th day, at this point in history, is Sunday. The 11th is Monday. The 12th is Tuesday. The 13th, Wednesday, and the 14th is Thursday. This is straightforward counting. If Jesus is crucified on the same date as the Passover date in Egypt, and Passover is the 14th day, then the crucifixion takes place on Thursday. Let's quickly take a look at another crucial timeline. Jesus makes a precise statement about the length of time he will be in the grave. "For just as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the great fish, so will the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth." Matthew 12:40. A Thursday crucifixion allows this statement to be fulfilled fully and literally. Thursday night and Friday morning is day 1. Friday night and Saturday morning is day 2. And finally, Saturday night and Sunday morning is day 3. Jesus rises on Sunday morning. The count is complete and consistent. This is interpreting Scripture with Scripture. The Passover account in Exodus 12:3-6, and the Jonah and the great fish account in Jonah 1:17. This timeline also explains a detail mentioned in the Gospels. John notes that the day following the crucifixion was a high Sabbath, a special Sabbath associated with Passover. That means It did not function like a normal Saturday Sabbath. This allows for the following: a Thursday crucifixion, a Passover high Sabbath beginning Thursday evening, a regular weekly Sabbath beginning Friday evening, and now the pieces all fit together without forcing the text. Now we pause to observe something. The kanji character for 10 is formed from two components, a person and a cross. Visually, it shows a person standing next to the cross or appointed to the cross. That aligns with what we've just traced in Scripture. It's an illustration of Selection Day, the 10th, a specific person set apart for sacrifice on a cross. When a specific person is placed on the cross, the visual form becomes a tree. The Apostle Paul writes, "Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law, having become a curse for us. For it is written, 'Cursed is everyone who hangs on a tree.'" Galatians 3:13. The tree represents judgment, and visually, something striking appears. If the person is removed from the tree, what remains is the cross, the symbol of the curse itself. Jesus bears the curse, taking on our sin so that it does not remain on us. In Japanese, Thursday is written with the kanji for tree. It literally means tree day. This does not establish doctrine, and it does not reinterpret Scripture. It simply illustrates a Thursday crucifixion that Scripture already allows for. We've just seen that the Lamb is chosen. The Lamb is slain, and the Lamb rises from the dead and is alive. So let's look at why this kind of precision matters from the Magi perspective. Everything we've covered depends on precision. Exact days, careful counting, appointed times. This kind of precision mattered deeply to the Magi. Hardly any biblical scholar disputes that the Magi are portrayed as watchers, observers of time, calendars, and signs. The Magi recognize significance by when something happens. That is how they recognize Jesus at his birth. From a hypothesis standpoint, two moments in the Christian story demand this level of attention. The birth of Christ, recognized upon seeing the star, interpreting Scripture, and a physical confirmation by visiting him, and the crucifixion of Christ, understood through timing, sacrifice, and fulfillment. If the Magi later came to understand the meaning of Jesus' death, then preserving these moments through ordered visual illustrations makes sense, not as doctrine, but as memory. This episode is not about trivia or symbolism. It's about recognizing that God works on a schedule on our behalf. Jesus is not accidentally crucified. Jesus is chosen on the 10th day. He's lifted on the cross. He is hung on a tree. And he rises again. This is the gospel story, told carefully and faithfully. And when we slow down enough to count the days, we see just how precisely it holds together. The 10th day chosen, the 14th day crucified, 3 days and 3 nights later, on Sunday, Jesus is resurrected. This is Gospel Kanji. See you next time.